It's me, the Goblin, and I'm back with another video. This time, I'm going to be looking at the video from, it's Fox News. Better run. Better get your coloring books. Better go to your safe space. Better get a pint of ice cream for comfort food. Because we all know that anything that comes from Fox News has to be disinformation. But this article says face masks made little to no difference in spread of COVID. Scientific review finds.
Oh man. Oh, I'm back. Sorry about that. Sometimes, sometimes the goblin just takes over when he sees some nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm back under control now. It's good. So, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this article, shall we? It says here, the stance by the Centers for Disease and Control Prevention on face masks has taken many twists and turns throughout the COVID pandemic. After initially claiming face coverings weren't necessary, the CDC changed course in April 2020, calling on all Americans, even children as young as 2 years old, to mask up. How ridiculous. They knew pretty early on that COVID was not a danger to any children 18 or under, unless they had massive comorbidities going on. Anyway, that being what it is. Oh yeah, and another thing on that subject, there's a lot of talk going around now as the truth is leaking out and the studies are coming out about this, that, and the other regarding the disease of unknown origin and our reactions to it. A lot of people are like, I didn't know. I didn't know. It's like, no. There were people that knew. You choose to stick your head in the sand. You chose to just blindly believe anything you were told to believe. You chose to bend the knee and blindly obey your political masters and overlords. So that's on you. Like, if you wanna, you wanna believe anything you're told and you don't want to know anything, like, I get it. I realize, it's difficult to, like, it actually, and I'm being serious here. It takes some effort and some work to actually think for yourself and make decisions for yourself. It's very comforting to think that just turning on the TV and just blindly obeying whatever you're told to do by a mind control rectangle in your living room or a handheld mind control device, that it has a definite layer of comfort to it, and it takes a lot of energy to think about and figure things out for yourself. And it's kind of scary when you come to the conclusions that maybe everything that your powers that be is not being done in your best interest. That's a frightening thought. So anyway, I digress. So that September, then CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield said during a Senate hearing that face masks are the most important, powerful health tool we have, even suggesting that they might offer more protection than vaccines. Oh, hold on a second. I gotta take a look at this. COVID-19's lasting impact. Less attractive people wear masks more often than others.
Love it.
We gotta check this out real quick. We're gonna take a side step here and see what this article says. Oh no, it's not. It can't be Fox News again. I might change. I get that off the screen, and it's terrifying. Well, I mean, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, but like if you take what the average looks like on both sides, I could kind of see why the left leaning people would choose to wear masks. So maybe it doesn't have anything to, or it has less to do with being ordered than trying to cover up what you look like. I never really thought about that, so I'm glad I clicked on that. That's interesting. Anyway, these recommendations likely played a large part in 39 U.S. states eventually enacting mask mandates. Now, a new scientific review led by 12 researchers from esteemed universities around the world suggests that widespread masking may have done little to nothing to curb the transmission of COVID-19. You don't say. Wow. Tell me something I didn't know. Published by Cochrane Library, the review dug into the findings of 78 randomized, controlled trials to determine whether physical interventions, including face masks and hand washing, lessened the spread of respiratory viruses. Well, they've never worked before, so... Anyway, when comparing the use of a medical surgical mask to wearing no mask, the review found that wearing a mask may make little to no difference in how many people caught flu-like illnesses, COVID-like illnesses, and probably makes little or no difference in how many people have flu-COVID confirmed by laboratory tests, which also, the tests are dubious at best. Next, the review compared medical surgical masks to N95 respirators or P2 respirators, which are used in Europe. It found that wearing N95 P2 respirators probably makes little to no difference in how many people have confirmed flu, and may make little to no difference in how many people catch flu-like illnesses or respiratory illnesses. Look, here's the thing with the masks and everything. Let's say even that they did work, or they stopped it 50% of the time, which they don't. Okay, if everyone masks, you only need one person that's infected to restart a pandemic. I think China finally realized this after like 2 or 3 years of trying to do lockdowns and masking and this, that, and the other. As soon as you let the foot off the pedal for the masks or the lockdowns or anything like that, the disease is going to start spreading around again. So unless you're going to be locked down and masked up for eternity, it's not going to work. Anyone with 2 brain cells to rub together would have known that and realized that from the beginning. The 78 studies looked at participants from countries of all income levels. Data was gathered during the H1N1 flu pandemic in 2009, non-epidemic flu seasons, epidemic flu seasons up to 2016, and the COVID-19 pandemic, the authors wrote. The new findings seem to call into question the CDC's enthusiastic embrace of widespread masking. Again, I'm going to interject here. The way the mask people were acting was that if you put a mask on, you would live a disease-free utopian life. You would have a disease-free eternal life if you just put the mask on. It's yeah, okay. I'm just gonna stop right there. I can't even. However, Dr. Mark Siegel, professor of medicine at NYU Langone Medical Center and a Fox News medical contributor. Oh, there's that scary word again. Fox News. It must be disinformation. Pointed out a key limitation. The researchers focus primarily on randomized trials, but most of the studies that have been done on masks are population studies. There are very few randomized trials on masks. In a randomized trial, researchers place participants in different groups and observe the results in a controlled environment. By contrast, population-based studies measure outcomes in a real-world setting. Okay, I get that. I guess they're saying that if you did randomized studies, you might have different outcomes, but in a global population, there's no way to do that. You could even apply a randomized study because, again, the minute you left the pedal off, first of all, you're not going to get everyone to mask. Secondly, if you did, they probably, they don't seem to work anyway. And thirdly, even if in a perfect world, if they did work, the minute everyone was allowed to take them off, the disease would spread. So it's not going to work. The study authors did admit to some limitations and risk of bias, including the low number of people who followed mask guidance and the wide variation of outcomes, which is what I just talked about. The results might change when further evidence becomes available, they wrote. Dr. Siegel said he has never supported mask mandates. Good on him. He probably was silenced and threatened to be fired, or else he was in a position where he couldn't be fired, because the doctors that I knew of who were against the masking and other obedience injections or whatnot were at risk of losing their jobs if they spoke out about it. He believes that while masks might be effective on an individual level, they do not work as well on a population level. Again, that's what I surmised, and I figured that out for myself without having a medical degree, like right at the very beginning. If you're going to mandate something, you'd have to be sure of consistency across the population, and that's never happened, and it never will happen. However, the physician pointed out that the CDC never actually mandated masks. That's true, with the exception of public transportation in January 2021. It was the state, mostly blue states, and it was shown statistically that it had no effect, basically. And local authorities that took the CDC's recommendations and implemented the mandates. The recommendations may have been wrong, which they were, but the CDC doesn't deserve the blame for everything. That's probably true because certain politicians used it as a leverage tool and ran with it. I think they're aware that masks may have a value on a personal basis, but they got carried away with the politics. Okay, the only way that masks have value on a personal basis is as a generous helping of copium. People want to believe that they have control over something that they have absolutely no control of, or they want a virtue signal that they're better than everybody else that's not wearing the mask, or smarter than everyone else that's not wearing the mask, which they're not. As of right now, no U.S. states have mask mandates in place. On Sunday, New York dropped its statewide mask requirements in hospitals, leaving the decision up to individual facilities. Many healthcare facilities are currently still requiring them.
That's the end of the article. It's me, the Goblin, again. And I would just like to remind you, if anything goes wrong in your life, you simply say, "It wasn't me, the Goblin made me do it. Don't let him take me again." And everything will be right as rain.